just want to thank you for coming and joining me today. I first moved and I relocated to another area. I was through your process. The care that you can get out of it as well. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Happy Life, Better Life. So today I want to talk some real hard facts about divorce and even maybe before you get to that point, that place of actually going through divorce. First of all, divorce is not easy by any means. I don't want it to seem like I'm glamorizing divorce. I don't want to seem like I am pro-divorce, and I don't want it to seem like I am egging people on to go through a divorce in their 40s and 50s. That is not what this channel is about. This channel is about supporting women in particular, but in general, people going through divorce in their 40s and 50s, because it's not easy. It's not easy. There are challenges, and most of the time for people it can be frightening. It can be frightening, it can be disheartening, and it can be something that really affects who you are as a person. So that's one of the reasons why I started this particular channel, because I didn't want women to have to go through those difficult places alone. And as a person who went through it, I felt like I could give some wisdom or knowledge or some resources that could possibly help people who have to go through it. But let's be real. Sometimes people use divorce as a first resort. And this video is not for you if you are not one of those people. Some people didn't have a choice. Some people might have been in abusive situations, and some people might have been in situations where maybe they wanted to try to work on the marriage, but the other person didn't, and the other person left. And so they were in this place where they had to navigate these new lands and territories on their own. And so that's why I wanted to, again, give aid and support and wisdom and encouragement to let you know you can make it. But let's be real. I've talked to people who they haven't really even tried in their relationship. Maybe the grass just looked greener on the other side, and they just said, hey, I'm going to do this. Maybe they felt like they were bored. Let me tell you, being bored, that's not a good reason to get divorced. That's not a good reason to leave somebody. Because to me, if you're bored, there are things that can be done. If that person really loves you, and if you really love that person. So if you guys really love each other, but maybe there's some incompatibility there, to me the marriage could still be salvaged. There's things that you can work through, and there might have to be some kind of compromises, which is a word people don't even use anymore. They don't want to compromise. They don't feel like they should have to work at it. But that's what marriage is. That's what relationships are. They're work. They're not perfect. You know why? They're not perfect because the people in the relationships or the people in the marriage are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to admit that. I am loving. I am kind. I like to have fun. I like to do things for the people that I care about. But I am not perfect at all. And guess what? Neither are you. Neither is that person going to be. But I feel like people rush to divorce like, oh, it's just going to guarantee that I'm going to have a better life now, that I'm going to find a better relationship with somebody else. That's not always the case. It's to be quite frank, it's kind of rough out here in these streets sometimes, you know? It's hard, challenging to find people who are genuinely caring and loving. That stuff is not easy. And then who you are actually compatible with, that's a whole nother thing. So, I want to give advice a little bit to the people who are maybe on the fence. Should I try to work this out? I know people who are in marriages, but the relationships are not ideal, and they might even be separated right now, but still communicating, still talking to try to work things out. So this is for any man or woman out there. Number one, if you really want the relationship, you need to go after it, and you need to act like you really want the relationship. Because too many times people let pride get in the way. People let pride keep them from saying the things they really should say and from doing the things they really should do. So don't let pride take you to divorce court. The second thing, if you really want your marriage, you have to communicate. Communicate, communicate, communicate. I can't say that enough, because a lot of times that's what leads people to divorce. They didn't communicate. Sometimes the things that are the simplest are the hardest to say. Like, I'm sorry. I love you. I want you in my life. And how about I need you? People never want to tell the other person that they need them. Sometimes people need to know that they're needed and wanted and desired. Men need to hear that. Sometimes as women, we don't think men need to hear that, but they do need to hear it. Sometimes men don't think women need to hear that. They feel like, well, she should already know because I do this, I do that, I do that. Yes, those may be demonstrations of how you feel, but sometimes people need to hear the words. I remember being like a preschool teacher, and I would always say to kids, because sometimes they would just start crying and you didn't know what was wrong with them, and you didn't know if they were hurting or if they wanted something or needed something. You didn't know what was going on. And I would tell them, sweetheart, I want to help you, but I need you to use your words. So that's what I'm telling some of you today. I need you to use your words. Use your words. Don't be afraid to use your words to say how you really feel, what you really need, what you really want. You might be surprised that the other person wants and needs the same thing. And for my third and final point, learn how to laugh sometimes, dang it. I mean, seriously. Sometimes we take ourselves way too seriously. We don't laugh enough. We don't smile enough. We don't just have a good time. I hate intensity. Anybody who knows me, anyone that I talk to or dated or whatever for a minute online, that's one of the first things that I tell them. I hate intensity. Because sometimes, let me explain what intensity is. Okay, like intensity is when people get upset. And it can be a little thing, but it blows up into a big thing. When people are always walking around and it seems like you can't smile, and it just seems like, you even if something goes wrong, you plan a date or you plan to do something and things go wrong, it doesn't have to ruin the whole thing. It just doesn't. Let me give an example. So, someone that I was dating, we met online, and we were having our first date, and this was years ago, and when we were going to see like a comedy show, and when we got in the line, because he had ordered the tickets online, had paid for them online, and then when we were getting ready to go to the entrance, he was giving them his information, and they were like, "We don't have your tickets. I'm sorry, we don't have it. We don't, I'm not seeing it here." And when that happened, I kind of, because there were other people in line behind us, I kind of moved over a little bit, like, and in my mind I was thinking, oh wow, this might be a minute or something. And there are some people who would get really upset, because it's their first date. And the guy could be thinking, I really want to impress this person, this, that, and the other. And so I know people who would have been really upset, and, it would have turned into a thing. But, he just looked and he said, well, that's fine. Can I buy them again right now? Can I just purchase them again right here? And they said, yes, sure. And he said, okay, well, let's do that. So he purchased them right there. And he was like, looking at me sort of like, why are you over there? Come over here. And then I stood back in line next to him, and we went in, and we had a great time, a great date. So I told him later on, this wasn't like that night, but this was sometime later, when we were still spending time together. And this person is still in my life now, by the way. But anyway, I told him I was so impressed at how you handled that. And I said, I just know so many people who would have, it just would have been a big thing, but you just remained so chill about it. And I said, that really impressed me, that, it was all copacetic. That's my favorite word, copacetic. Try saying that sometime, copacetic. That means it's all right, it's okay, it's all good. Bojangles invented that word. It's all copacetic. So anyway, it's one of my favorite words. And that's how he was. He was just chill about it. And that really impressed me. And let me tell you, that is his personality to the T. He's so calm and chill. And even when we have disagreements and things, and sometimes we can have very vehement disagreements, but he's still always chill. And to me, that's a quality that a lot of people lack today. They don't have that kind of patience. They don't have that kind of understanding. They don't have that kind of je ne sais quoi. They don't know how to just flow sometimes. So whether you're male or female, practice being less intense. It just goes a long, long way. So these were just some of my thoughts on not really rushing to go and get a divorce. If you're on the fence, if that person is a good person, if they're an honest person, if they're a trustworthy person, but maybe you just have sometimes things happen, and we have chinks in the armor, and we can't always be vulnerable with each other. We need to. Sometimes we have to be vulnerable with each other. Something really cool I heard a person say. This was a married couple, and I want to say I think they've been married about 15 years or something. It was really funny because looking at them, you can see how much they love each other. They have such a true friendship together. And she she said something like, "Yeah, when we first got married, um, she said, I don't know, sometimes we just didn't really like each other too much." And she said, "But thankfully, we stuck in there past that time and we learned to really love each other." And my thing is, most of the time, people do not go past that point. They don't make it past the difficult places to get to the really, really good places. So today I just wanted to remind you of that, and I wanted to tell you, don't be in a rush to go out and just end things. First, make sure that you've done everything you can to salvage it, if it's worth salvaging. So I just wanted to tell you once again, have a happy life and a better life, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.